As you may have seen, we had Mayor Baraka on earlier. It was an immigration-related offense, as you know, where the Trump DOJ accused him of trespassing, physically arrested him, indicted him, took him to court. And here we are, a week and a half later, the whole case falls apart. He says no one has apologized to him from the administration. What do you say to him tonight?
I think it was a ridiculous interview. I listened to it. Look, he's running for higher political office. He got exactly what he wanted. He went there to get on camera and cause a ruckus, and that's what he got. And as far as the case falling apart, I think it'd be only fair to invite Alina Habba to your show to discuss why the case wasn't further prosecuted.
She's fully invited, and you're on here now from the Trump administration. I mean, yes, we'll have people on.
But you're assuming the case fell apart. You're assuming the case fell apart.
Sir, I'm not assuming. Hold on. I'm not assuming anything. Sir, I'm not assuming anything. I'm quoting from, sir, I'm not assuming anything. I'm quoting from the Justice Department that you work with as law enforcement. They went to court today. They said in court, under penalty of perjury, they made a mistake and dropped the case. Not an assumption. I'm referring to what your own administration's doing.
They used the terms, the case fell apart?
They used the terms, if you want to get into it, that they made a mistake. Yeah, the case is over. They dropped it. I don't think there's a dispute that they dropped the case.
Look, here's what I know about the case. The mayor was on the property. He was asked numerous times to leave and refused to leave. And as far as the facility itself, I'll put that facility up against any New Jersey facility, any county jail, any state prison. This facility had the highest detention standards in the industry. There's nothing to force your way in on. Make it, we do oversight visits all the time. Do it the right way. Contact guys, go through the screening, enter the facility, and see anything you want to see. But what they did is force their way in the facility, refused to leave when asked to leave, and the Congresswoman, she put hands on an ICE officer.
All right, so you're jumping to her. Let's finish. I'll tell you what, sir. Let's finish with the mayor. Then we can talk about her if you brought her up. Here's what Mayor Baraka said just tonight.
The federal prosecutor that was there today, basically after the judge asked him, did he have anything to say? He said, yeah, after reviewing the evidence and the videos and everything else, we agree that this case should, in fact, be dismissed. And that was their way of saying, we made a mistake. And I think that's about as far as these people are going to go, because I think this is clearly being driven by their desire to do what was said earlier, to hurt people, to embarrass people, to humiliate folks. And they'll go further than that if they can.
Independent reports say he was initially allowed past the fence, I'm reading, then invited past the gates before he was arrested, seemingly contradicting accusations he'd barged into the facility. He was asked to leave multiple times and, quote, exited voluntarily. That's according to an independent account. There's videos on that. Federal agents wearing face coverings and fatigues appeared outside the gates to arrest the mayor. I said I'd give you time to respond. Go ahead.
Well, that's a different account than I got. Again, I wasn't there. I'm counting on the account provided by GEO officials and ICE officials. So, again, I wasn't there. It played out in court. But I think that using the terms the case fell apart, I think is wrong. I think they reached terms. And again, I'm not.
They dropped the case in court and they were rebuked by a judge today.
That's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, I understand you weren't there, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that. But if you weren't there, but I'm showing you what happened there.
This is being done. For the mayor to add this is being done to hurt people and embarrass people. And, let's remember, no one weaponized the Justice Department more than the Biden administration did, for God's sakes, against President Trump, people affiliated with him, whether it's, it's a Bannon, whether it's, a member of the Trump administration that they locked up. I mean, no one weaponized the Justice Department and the federal government more than the Biden administration did. So I find it shocking that the Democratic Party are going to talk about us, weaponize the Justice Department. It's just ridiculous.
Well, is that what you're saying? They did it so you can do it?
That's not what I'm saying at all. But to make the allegation that we're weaponizing the Justice Department, they crossed the line. That congressman crossed the line. She put hands on an ICE officer.
Okay, so we'll move to her.
Day one. You can.
We'll move to the congressman, but just to finish the point here, when you look at the investigations, it's a lot of critics of Donald Trump and Democrats. Can you think of or name any public official or individual who's in these crosshairs other than those folks? I've got some up on the screen. It goes from Cuomo to Comey to Springsteen at this point.
Those who break the law should be prosecuted. And I don't know if any of these people have been prosecuted. That list, I'm looking at the screen now, if any of them people have been prosecuted other than the Congresswoman and other than 2 judges that impeded ICE and tried to harbor and conceal an illegal alien and impede their enforcement efforts. So, no, that list shows I can't see everybody on that list, but are you telling me everybody on the list has been indicted?
No, it says investigations.
They'll be indicted or arrested if they violate the law.
No, it's investigations, but the fact that so many in these first 110 days, some of them which are announced on social media or other avenues before the defendants or even read their rights and given information, raises the question that it looks like to some that this is political targeting. The ACLU says it's autocratic targeting. And you respond tonight by saying, well, they did it. The Democrats did it. Well, if they did it, that's your view? Does that make it okay? That's what I'm asking.
Wait a minute. I said I find it shocking that they would accuse the Trump administration of weaponizing against their opponents when they did the exact thing during the Biden administration. I'm not making any comparison. I'm just saying I find it shocking for them to make that claim when they did it for 4 years. I'm not making any claim we're weaponizing anything. I don't think President Trump's weaponizing anything against his political opponents. We're enforcing the law. We're investigating crimes. If there's evidence that a crime has been acted upon, then they need to be charged. No one's. In the last 4 years, we heard no one's above the law. We're either our members of Congress, either our judges, and either our other people. You've crossed the line. You violate the law. You should be indicted. You should be charged.
So I know you brought up Congressman McIver. I said I'd give you time on that. The reports here are that part of the narrative about her has been, quote, contradicted by the video footage and witnesses who were at the scene. It was a scuffle. That's on video. She says it's intimidation. I know you have said that she was, quote, unprofessional. And people in public life can agree or disagree on who in whichever branch of government are professional. But does it concern you that someone who in a co-equal branch is supposed to oversee ICE, I'm sure you don't deny her elected authority to do that along with every other member of Congress in both parties, does it concern you that now it looks like, according to her lawyers, that the law enforcement agencies are trying to intimidate her out of that enforcement? And do you really think the video suggests that she was physically assaulting and battering armed agents? Because it looks more like a kind of out-of-control scuffle.
She claims she was there on oversight. We open facilities of oversight every day across this country. There are, all you have to do is show up to the facility in a professional manner and request a visit. Go through screening and go see it. We are proud of that facility. I want everybody to go look at it. Maybe all the false narrative will stop about how ICE's detention standards are just so terrible. But she shoved an officer, she put hands on her officer. That's unacceptable. These ICE officers, and when you cause a ruckus like that, then that makes that facility unsecure, because officers who should be dealing with the prisoners, very serious prisoners, criminals in that facility, they're dealing with the ruckus outside. It makes the facility unsafe. It's unsafe for the officers, and it's unsafe for the general public. We take the security of those facilities very seriously. She knows how to do oversight. You go there and request to look at it. Don't barge your way in, and regardless of what happens, you don't put hands. And you don't shove an ICE officer who's there to protect the facility and protect the public from the people in that facility.
You think DOJ will win that case?
What I saw, I think she put hands on an officer. She shoved an officer. She needs to pay the consequences. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, they dropped the one.
I spent 40 years doing this.
No, I know you have experience.
This is the same week. We're in the same. No, we're in the same week. We're in New York. We're in Washington D.C. Supporting the men and women, law enforcement, state, local, and federal, who gave the ultimate sacrifice. It was Law Enforcement Week, Police Week. I attended memorials for Border Patrol and ICE. I buried Border Patrol agents. I buried ICE agents. And I met with many families of fallen officers from federal, state, and local law enforcement. A week we're supposed to celebrate law enforcement. We got a member of Congress putting her hands on one at a facility.
All right, well,
very unprofessional conduct.
I said I'd give you time on that.
And the mayor showed up for one reason. Okay. He wanted press time. He got it.
Well, Mr. Homan, like I said, we heard from the mayor. I'm giving you time on that.